Do you want one of these truffles?
I'd love one, thank you very much. Look at your face, you were hoping I'd say no, weren't you?
Yeah, I've only got like 3.
Well, I'll have 3, that's fine. Oh, it's white chocolate and brown chocolate.
I think it's like orange as well.
I'm going to suck it, make it last. You've only got 1 more?
Actually, I have 2 more. Look at you!
So I posted about a couple of months ago on my YouTube community page, mentioned that I was going to be doing this shoot with Larissa, and I said, do you guys have any questions? And I've whittled out the complete crap ones that are stupid, and I've got a short list of questions that are answerable.
My favourite one is, what's her favourite type of cheese?
I knew that was going to be your favourite.
I feel like that person really knows me already to ask that sort of question, because that's what's most important in life, after all.
Of course.
So I would say a nice sharp cheddar, you know, the one that kind of makes you go, wow, wow. One that kind of like I get a lot is, you know, how would you feel if the girl was your daughter? So I assume they're like, how would you feel if I was your daughter, I guess, and I'm a nude model and you're working with a nude model. But the thing is, nudity shouldn't be inherently sexual. So like the last thing I want to do is have censorship. I think censorship is just making the future generation just like ashamed of their bodies. Like we shouldn't be living in this like Puritan society like we have done in the past. We need to like be celebrating what we have. And I was really bullied in school, so I was ashamed of my body, and nude modeling helped me get over that. So if my daughter was really self-conscious about her body, I'd be like, why don't you pose for an artist? Have a beautiful painting done of yourself. You know, see yourself in a different light. It might change the way you feel. So
I could get an artist to paint a picture of
pose nude.
My colossal girth, and that would make me feel less disgusted about my... I'm going to do it.
You should try it, seriously.
So if anybody wants to paint a picture of me nude, just post a comment and we'll set that up.
He's taking commissions.
I think people would pay me to keep my clothes on. Please don't undress. Note to self: whenever hiking through the forest with a model, always be sure to pay attention to your surroundings rather than giving all of your attention to the model. But if you get smashed in the face, just pretend it didn't even hurt. Smooth. Now, I don't often work with models, but a few months ago I stumbled upon a very magical forest scene, and the shot that I had in mind really needed a model. The challenge, however, is that the landscape in my shot requires a super wide angle lens, but would that work with a model? So this is it, this is what I was telling you about. So I reckon we'll have you stood here, and then this curve will just frame you beautifully. I love these roots. That's the plan anyway, that's the vision that I have.
It's magical. Yeah,
and the light's perfect, it's soft, and we've got the whole place to ourselves. Keep you in your jacket so you're comfy, and then play with the lights to figure out where the lights need to go, and then once we've figured that out, jacket off, get all glam.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so the light I've got it's pretty small. I'm only packing a small one, but
I think it's the smallest I've ever seen.
Really? You usually work with bigger ones?
Much bigger.
We'll make do.
Looks like we'll have to.
So what I've got for this situation, and if you're a portrait photographer, you're going to be laughing at me right now, but I've got one of these LED panels, and I use these for like light painting and night photography, but that's all I've got, so it'll have to do the job. We'll see how it looks.
Yeah, I usually work with much bigger.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
We'll make the best of it.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
As long as you don't laugh at me.
No, I know, it's how you use it, right?
Exactly,
how you use it.
Yeah, I'm glad she understands. Okay. So my goal with this composition was to capture the magic of this beautiful forest, and Larissa just has that ethereal beauty that not only matches perfectly with the landscape, she also fit gorgeously into the frame created by that twisty cedar tree. So I set up my pathetic little light and began the process of finding the ideal spot. So here is the first shot of the day, and as you can see, I used a smoke grenade to simplify the scene so that both Larissa and the twisty tree are nicely separated from the complicated background. But don't worry, I would never use one of those unless it was wintertime and the forest was suitably soaked, so I felt it was very safe. Now in all honesty, I was amazed at how well my two cheapo LED panels managed to light Larissa. I could have borrowed some heavy duty lights, but I didn't have the time to learn how to use them, and I really only wanted something gentle just to add that little bit of brightness to Larissa's eyes. So that was the pink dress, and we got a few quite lovely shots, I think, with that one. So now we've got this lovely green dress, which is, it matches the scene, right? This is what we want, something that matches. That one, the pink, was totally the opposite. It pops against the background. This one blends in, so it may or may not work. We'll see. Are you comfy there, love?
Yes.
So what I'm going to try and do now with my completely limited portraiture experience is use this light here, another one, and just run it up and down Larissa's body just to see if, you know, that light being so close may create shadows. So this is going to hopefully counterbalance those shadows. I may not need it. I believe it was right here.
Did you mark it?
No, I'm not a full professional. It definitely helps. Yeah, I like it better with it, and I'd leave it about there. Like if I get too close, it's too harsh. But maybe right here. Or I could go head on. So that's off, on, off, on. Yeah, I think head on actually. We'll try. So here's the shot that we got with the Celtic dress style, and you've probably noticed that I've gone for a very desaturated look to these images, and that is because I wanted the colours in the scene to blend more seamlessly with Larissa's colours. And also you might be wondering what kind of lens I used. Well, I used a super wide 18mm prime, which really only works because Larissa is in the centre of the frame. Now if I'd placed her off to the edge of the frame, that would have stretched her and distorted her shape, but by having her in the centre of the frame, it gives her a more flattering look. Are you comfy?
Chilly willy.
Right, so this is the third and final dress, which I think might be the best one, and I'll grab your jacket.
Thank you, kind sir.
And we'll see what we come up with. So lastly we have this green dress, and it looks lovely, but I might need your help in deciding which one is best. Do you like the pink dress, the Celtic, or the green? Let me know in the comments. Now as I mentioned before, I'm a landscape photographer, so with this kind of photography I am a total novice. But what I learned with this shoot was that I should have used that second light to soften the shadow that you see under Larissa's chin. The other thing that I learned is that when used carefully, a super wide angle lens that's normally used for landscape photography can work really well for shooting models in landscapes. So after I got the shot that I came for, which was all about that combination of the landscape and Larissa, I figured that I might as well shoot some quick and easy handheld shots with an actual portrait lens. And this brings me on to the third thing that I learned about shooting models in beautiful landscapes, and that was that my success rate was far greater than simply shooting landscapes. And I reckon this is because of the tighter compositions, because it's much more about the model, and with a professional like Larissa, she made it very easy to bag shot after shot after shot. So we switch into a portrait lens now. This is the 55mm on full frame, so it's going to be a much tighter crop. It's not really about the scenery or the background. And she's getting cold now because we've been through 3 dresses and it is bloody cold, and here I am in my comfy down jacket. So I'm going to rush through a few more and then I think that's it. We're done, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well. What a trooper. Not only did Larissa brave these winter conditions through 3 dresses, but she also suffered 2 hours of car sickness. So here are just a few of those handheld shots that required zero planning, and like I said, once I'd switched to this style of shooting, my productivity went through the roof. Now, as I've mentioned twice already, this type of photography is way outside of my comfort zone, so here's the reason why I did this and why I made this video. Sometimes your creative vision goes beyond the constraints of your chosen genre of photography, but don't be afraid to experiment and test the limits of your genre. Break out of the box of strict landscape photography, and I can promise you this, you'll expand your creativity and you'll also learn new techniques just from making mistakes. Did I do a good job? Was I right on my first time with my small light?
You were fantastic.
Yeah?
Although I have iceberg nipples right now.
I always have those. I literally always have chapel hat pegs, we call them in Yorkshire. I did alright though.
You did alright.
Am I the least professional?
You might get a good reference from me.
Really?
Maybe. If you play your cards right.
So I'm not the least professional?
No.
Really? You've had worse than me?
Yeah, always. Or much worse.
Oh, much worse?
Much worse.
Oh, well, that's a story for the drive home.
Maybe. Like, what do I look for in a photographer when they're reaching out to hire me? Is if I'm looking at their style or their personality. And honestly, it's like a mix of everything. It's how they message me, what the kind of tone of their message is. You can pretty much tell like when someone's being respectful and professional. And then their work as well. You can easily see if someone's like what their style is, what your style is. Are they going to mesh well together?
Yeah.
But the most important thing is safety, by far. Like, I will often look at references before I even look at all their work, to be honest. I need to see their references. I need to see who they've worked with before I start entertaining the idea of a booking, because you put yourself in a very vulnerable situation. So
how did I manage to slip through the cracks then?
I have no idea.
That was your opportunity to say, because your work is so beautiful, Gavin, that
right.
I just had to.
Of course, I should have said that.
You totally should have said that.
So another question I got was, does she like a lot of direction or more finding her own groove? And that's like, again, a bit of both. I am pretty much happy like going into my own head and just like moving and being inspired by the location, and even just like the chemistry with the photographer as well. Like if we have any banter, or that kind of makes me feel a lot more relaxed and comfortable. If there's like silence, I'm just like, is this okay? Is this okay? Is this okay? Even though I know what I'm doing is like okay, it's just you kind of need that feedback. You need that back and forth relationship. Otherwise, you're not going to get good results.
Yeah, because you're two artists working together.
Yeah.
It's like being a musician and playing with another musician.
Yeah, exactly.
If they stop playing, what?
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, what am I doing?
Yeah. Well, that's good, because I have no clue what I'm doing, and you are definitely going to be driving the bus when it comes to this shoot.
I like to drive the bus. That's good. But there was another question about whether, so you take a picture of me, and what if I don't like it? Like, what do I do, and how do we have that conversation that you think this picture's amazing, and I'm like, oh, really? Like, my toe looks weird, or something like that, because models will see like the weirdest things in themselves, like, oh, what is that, like, bag of fat under my knee or something. We look at the most strange things. So, but the thing is, and every model's different. If you take a picture and I don't necessarily like it all that much, I will probably not say anything. I might be like, oh, but I prefer this one, but I'll never like stop you using that image.
Oh, that's good.
Because you are, and you have artistic vision. You obviously like that image for a reason.
Yeah.
So who am I to say no, that's not a good image? Like I can give feedback and I can say what I don't like about it, but I'll never be like, oh no, you can't use that image, or take it down, or no, I'm never like that, because I usually just put my faith in the person that I'm working with, and if they see something they like, then if they're happy, I'm happy.
Excellent answer. Nothing quite like banging down a rough, horrible, gravelly logging road. You didn't mention that you get car sick.
I'm a delicate flower.
Ooh. You're not going to puke, are you?
If I do, I'll do it all over.
Yeah, just that'll make a good clip. Just spray the GoPro.
Yeah.
That'll get us some likes.
It's driving me nuts.
Like, how long does it take to comb and then braid? It's a costume, basically.
It's a bloody costume. Honestly, if I don't braid it at night time, I will suffocate. I will kill myself in my sleep.
At least you don't need a sleeping bag when you go camping. You could strangle somebody with it. You could use it as a weapon. Braid it up and like choke someone.
Oh yeah, it's almost could reach you.
Yeah, you can use it as a whip. So you are half Welsh, half Latvian.
Yeah, pretty much. Straight down the middle.
Pretty interesting. So I'm English, so like we can't be friends because you're Welsh.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have even come here, to be honest.
It was a big mistake.
Well, on my Welsh side, my granddad is 102. Actually, he's almost 103 in April. And he was a prisoner of war in Auschwitz.
Whoa, that's historic.
Yeah, and he got a British Empire Medal awarded from the Queen in a couple years ago.
Brilliant.
He's been on BBC News, he's been on ITV, he's been on Lad Bible, he's gone viral.
Yeah.
He's the oldest poppy seller in the world, so he'll sell poppies at Tesco. And he's a legend, like he does talks around schools and been in the paper so many times. Even I've been interviewed by the paper because of him.
Is he still sharp at 103?
Yeah, yep.
Unbelievable. So that's some good DNA to have.
Yep.
You've got longevity.
I hope so. And he has a book out called The Auschwitz Goalkeeper, because they were allowed to play football on Sundays.
Yeah.
You would not believe the stories. I mean, they're harrowing.
Yeah.
They are harrowing. Like his book, it's a very interesting read, but it's sad, you know, and we'll never realise what they went through. We'll never experience that kind of hardship.
Yeah.
Because we're just so privileged.
We're pampered. We're
so
pampered and offended.
Especially you. You won't even in the woods.
I'm just too posh. I'm English.
What are we going to do with you?